To all my other YouTube friends out there, when you film, does your nose run incessantly? I feel like every single time I sit down to film, my nose is like, hey guys, we're on. And then I'm like, the whole time. I edit out so many sniffs and so many sniffles and so many nose rubs. It's outrageous. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to go over some of my July purchases. I have everything, not everything, but a lot of things that I purchased in July. I really want to say January, I don't know why, laid out in front of me. Why do I want to go back to winter? That was like the longest winter ever. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, I had some products that I did purchase that I haven't really had a chance to try out yet. Some things I haven't tried enough to really form an opinion, so I have left most of those out. Other than that, these are things I definitely gave a run for their money or used 3 to 4 times in the month, and I wanted to talk about them. So I'm going to start from my least favorite to my most favorite, and let's get going. So I am a little bit on the Hot Mess Express today. It's okay, just embrace it. So I'm pretty much being straight up challenged by like everything in my life at the moment. Like my hair, my face, my makeup, my dogs. My camera's acting up and we're gonna power through the challenges. The first thing I want to talk about that did disappoint me was these 2 palettes. These are the Rimmel Magnifies Rainbow Edition and the Rimmel Magnifies Thunderstorm Edition. So, the Thunderstorm Edition I haven't had too much of a run at, so I'm gonna mostly talk about the Rainbow Eyes. I have most of these Rimmel palettes and love most of them. If you've been here before, I've definitely talked about them before. I always pick up these palettes. They're very, they're different for the drugstore for sure. The color stories are a little bit different. They're duping out like the Urban Decay Naked Cherry with the Spice Edition and things like that. This one though is so chalky and very minimally pigmented. Like, it looks not bad, but when I actually went to use it on my eyes, it just was really disappointing to me. I hate when I go to swatch things and the swatches look nice after I've talked shit about it, but I just felt like when I was trying to blend these out, they would just blend away. Yeah, see how chalky it is? Like, I'm barely touching my hand and it just goes away. If I could return this, I probably would have. And I am including the Thunderstorm in this as well, just to touch on it, because they feel just as chalky, which makes me not that confident that this is going to be that great either. Yeah, like, so that is a swatch. I'm trying to do this so it doesn't like run over everything else, and it's like patchy and not that great. And I know you're like probably looking at me going, Candice, but like, what do you want from a navy blue from the drugstore? But that right underneath is a shimmer, like very light champagne color, and it doesn't show up at all. Just to give an example of what I'm talking about, that navy blue right there, it definitely has like, it just like piles up in the pan when you do a swatch even. It's really not pliable or like very nice at all. The color story in this I loved, but the color story doesn't matter if the pigment and the actual formula of the shadow is trash. So I highly discourage you from picking either one of these up. And Rimmel, I very much discourage that behavior in the future. Thank you very much. So there's a few products in this smorgasbord of things that I purchased in July that like really made me scratch my head. So BoxyCharm in their Charm store had the Dose of Colors singles. So this one is in My Jam, and I can't get it open. So My Jam is this beautiful dark purple that you would think, this is gonna look awesome. And then there is the other one I got, which is Heart of Gold, which looks like this really dark, like bronzy gold. And this is bomb, like bomb. You put your finger in, you do a swatch, it's pigmented. Let's put it on here. It's literally like liquid gold. Well, liquid bronze gold. And then I tried to use this purple one, and if we are going to talk about inconsistencies with brands, you would think that that dark purple would be just as nice. But, oh, can you see that swatch? You're right. No, you can't, because it won't actually transfer off your finger. I literally just dug my finger in so bad and nothing comes up. So let's try again. 1, 2, 3. And it's just starting to build up now. So that was technically 4 swatches, actually 5 swatches on my finger from this dark, dark purple. And I'm flummoxed. I don't even know how you can pack a shade in to look like this, but then the swatch looks like this. Like, how would you ever know that was the same? I actually bought these with my points, so like I'm fine with it. But if I had purchased this for its regular price, which from what I understand is fairly fucking expensive, I would be mad. This would be going back for sure. This one I did really like. So I have an issue with inconsistencies in formulas. Like, this is supposed to be the same formula. It is supposed to be the same type of single shadow, but the formula between the two is clearly very different. And y'all gonna come at me and be like, listen, I know purples are hard to formulate. I know it. But it can be done. There are great purples in this world. The fuck? Dose of colors. The fuck. I know a lot of people have seen that the Tutti Frutti collection has been at Marshall's, Winners, and TJ Maxx. So I did pick up a lot of it. And this one is third from the bottom. Not because it is horrific, but because I, again, am flummoxed. So I did a look using almost all of the shades in here. It worked well, it looked nice. It took a little bit more effort than I like to have a palette take me, a little bit more time blending, etc. But what is happening here? And I'm right here. The shade is legitimately, like crumbling in on itself. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? I don't know. And like, you would think that maybe I just dug my brush in a little bit too much and then like it fell in. No, I literally touched it and it was like, I don't know why it did that. The rest of the shades were perfectly fine. If a shade was going to do that, I would assume it would be the gold that would kind of like pick up really easily and like seem like it was the most used. But legitimately in this one I was like doo and it just like, that makes me concerned, not in a way that I won't use it, but in a way that it makes me scratch my head. So I couldn't put this very high up on the list because one, it is just another neutral palette. I probably didn't need it. It did do a nice look, but super, super neutral of a look. And I will give it 10 points for packaging because that's some cute ass shit. The next two palettes, people are going to definitely be concerned that they are this far down in my list of things. I feel like we're on like the mega-ist rant, but we are starting to get into some more of the positive products and things that I did really like. So I'm putting up both of these palettes in this section because I did use both of them on my eyes today. I only purchased them yesterday. That's why they are where they are in this list. And so far, specifically, so far about the Melt Smoke Sessions, I'm not blown away. Part of me feels that I'm not blown away because it was so hyped up. Everybody talks about how much they love it and how perfect it is and la la la. I'm also really afraid the shades are gonna fall out because I've seen that happen a couple times to people on camera. The shades in the pan are beautiful. The shades swatched are beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I feel like it is not a beginner palette. And I am in no ways a beginner, but it is not a beginner palette and it is one that takes time to work with. So I did have to mix these two together. So this is the Gemini, it looks like this. And I actually had to mix the two palettes to get this look. I had a really hard time with the Smoke Sessions on its own. I did initially just want to use the Smoke Sessions. So I used Sour Diesel in the crease, and then I ended up having to go into the Gemini and kind of blending that out because it was a little bit patchy. And then I went into Gemini, as I said, and used the green section at the bottom. So I ended up doing Fire OG and Mochi, which are these two at the end here to kind of blend everything together. And then I was like, okay, well, like, now it's way darker than I thought I was going for, so I ended up going into Black Widow to just kind of like embrace the darkness. And then it was so dark, it looked like I had a black eye, and not in a cute way. Not like, oh, look how smoky and like villainous and vixenous I am. No, not like that. It was like, oh, you're back in 1987 and did not embrace the blue eyeshadow trend, but merely wanted that very scary grunge look. So back to this. So then I tried to lighten it up a bit, and I went into the corner with Blue Dream and Sweet Tooth. So Blue Dream all the way on the inside, and then Sweet Tooth on the lid, and it ended up having to like go back and forth, and ultimately I did end up liking the look, and I do blame myself for these feelings as of right now, because as I said, I only bought them yesterday, and in only buying them yesterday, I've only had one time to try them out. The Gemini I felt blended much better. I felt it had better colors in it to actually create a full look. When you look at Smoke Sessions, I know people are like not new to this palette, and I also have seen the molding. I have seen it. I understand. I did make sure that these were packed properly. They were not bubbling or anything when I picked up this palette. So don't tell me about makeup breakup, because I seen it. Well, you can tell me. I don't care. So back to what I was saying, which is where Sour Diesel and Space Queen, which are these two here, are the only matte shades. So if you were going to go out and buy this on its own and not have the Gemini to support it, you're not going to get as far as you might want to, depending on the kind of look you want. However, I do feel like Meld Cosmetics as a marketing technique did actually do exactly what they intended, which was to have the Gemini support the Smoke Sessions, so then you would want to buy them together to create that better look. Good on them for being smart about their marketing, bad on them for not creating a complete palette. I really, I'm going to continue with the Smoke Sessions, and I actually believe the Gemini is farther up in my list of things that I like and don't like from this month, from all of my purchases. I do really want to like the Smoke Sessions palette, but I have some feelings about it, and now I feel like I have to go and revisit how I did the look. I did what I thought would work out in the easiest way possible, and it just didn't. So I'm going to stop rambling about Smoke Sessions. I feel like I have the most feelings about that right now because I just did my makeup with it, so I'm going to let it go. So the next product actually is bordering near and dear to my heart. When I want to say in the early 2000s, I used to use this quad every single day, and it is the MAC Angel Wings quad. The shade Bravado used to really make my blue eyes, blue contacts really pop out. I wore it literally every day. I used that palette until it was dead. Dead. It's the only thing I've ever panned to nothing, and it was, of course, limited edition, and I never got it again because it was over. Anyway, a dupe for Bravado is actually Max Cranberry, but then I was wandering around Rexall the other day and I saw the Wet n Wild Bed of Roses, and this is so close to that MAC quad. It's crazy. I did use it a few times and do really like it. I will do some swatches here. The mattes are super creamy. Well, at least this one is. This one is a little bit more dry. But there's just something about this, and I'm trying to do this without like making a total disaster of myself. There's just something nostalgic about this for me. I'm sure it's not going to be everybody's favorite. It is very dark. This shade here looks exactly like that Bravado shade. There was a really dark brown and a really like grayish purple, as well as like, I almost believe that this was built exactly after Angel Wings from MAC. So good on Wet n Wild. The nostalgia tied to this for me was incredible. I really love the pan imprints of the roses. My middle name is Rose, and I actually have a long stem rose tattooed down my rib cage. And most of the women in my family have some sort of variation of rose or violet or a flower of some sort in their name. So I really liked this for multiple reasons, and I didn't actually think I was going to find it, and I only found it, I don't know, maybe like, I guess it would be about a month ago now. They also have like a lace imprint into the packaging, which I thought was kind of unique and kind of different. I know everybody hates Wet n Wild right now and they're lying sacks of crap, but like, it's a dupe for Take Wing, Angel Wings. Now I feel like I'm not sure what it's called. It's either Take Wing or Angel Wings. Either way, I'm gonna put a picture of it, so it won't matter. All right, we are getting into some honorable mentions as well as some of my more favorite products of July. And I already talked about these, but I'm talking about them again. So this is the Plumagranate, Apricot and the Act, and Cherry Bomb. I also picked these up from, I believe, Marshall's, but between Marshall's and Winners. So this one is the Cherry Bomb. This one is Apricot, which is probably something I'll wear more in the winter than in the summer. And this one's been my favorite so far, which is Plumagranate, and I've been using it a lot. I feel like these got a bad rap. They are a little bit more obnoxious blushes than, say, your standard blush. Like, they're darker, they have glitter in them, but I found if I was mixing my brush in and then like mixing them into both shades and then just tapping it a little bit and then putting it on, the glitter was not as extreme. It gave a nice glow. I'm currently wearing Plumagranate. Truthfully, I am glad I didn't pay full price for them. I did pay about half price. I think I paid $16 or $17 for them, and they were originally like $32 Canadian, which wise it seems more expensive. But I really like them, and there's something different, and I honestly loved the Tutti Frutti collection as a whole. Most of the things in it I liked, so when it came to Winners, I was like, that's mine, and that's mine, and add to cart. Has anybody seen this meme? This meme is my whole life, and it makes me laugh so hard. It shouldn't, because it's actually a personal problem, but like, therapist, what do we do when we're sad? Add to cart. Therapist. That's bad. Okay, continuing on, and I'm going to put these both together. So I did get the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Gel, I think it's called. I would tell you exactly what yeah, Dip Brow Gel. So this is in the shade Ebony. I'm wearing it today over the ColourPop Brow Boss brow pencil in the shade Ash Brown. So this isn't quite dark enough, and this is too dark. So I have been putting them together and really liking it. The cost of this brow boss is awesome. It's cheap when you're looking at like Anastasia Beverly Hills, and her pencils are like $25. This is going to last you about the same amount of time, maybe slightly less, but it's literally a third of the cost. It was like $8 or something Canadian. You really can't go wrong. It's got a really nice spoolie and a really defined tip. I've been using this a lot instead of my Brow Gal pencil and my Dip Brow, because I've been able to actually pair it with the brow gel as well. This one you have to be careful with, but I do like it. The spoolie is a little bit bigger than I would have put on it. I will just quickly compare the spoolie of this compared to, say, the Gimme Brow from Benefit. And I never really noticed this until right now, how big the difference is. The spoolie on the Anastasia is almost double the size of the Gimme Brow, which if that is what you're into, that's fine. But for me, I do wish it was just slightly smaller, because it gives you a little bit more control, especially with such a dark product. When you're putting it on your eyes like that, you want to make sure that you actually have control, and like you're not going to put it on your eyes and end up with like brow gel down here or like up here or on your shoulder, because that shit can get away from you. So I did bite the bullet this month as well and actually pick up the Mini Tropic palette. I saw Mel Thompson do her comparison between the Mini Tropic and the original Tropic. I liked the Tropic palette. I never purchased it because I did feel like it was just a neutral palette with the Tropic colors along the bottom. So when they released basically the bottom row in the Mini, I was like, perfect. It's exactly what I want to get. So I have used this a few times. It's beautiful. It's probably my favorite Natasha Denona palette that I own. And I have the Sunrise, the Purple Brown, and a whole bunch of the, like, I have Lila, I have Safari, and I have a few of the bigger 5-pan palettes. And this one so far is definitely my favorite. I'll insert a picture here of a look I did. It didn't photograph very well, and I was getting frustrated, so I did try and get a good picture of the look to see what I used, but I did end up using everything in it but this green for that look. So I'm gonna start to play with this again a little bit and dig into that green. It's only $33 Canadian, and for Natasha Denona, that is very, very good. And truthfully, somebody like me, I have an extensive amount of eyeshadows, and I'm not going to use them all. I'm not going to use them all up. So like a mini is perfectly fine for me. All right, moving into some lip products, and the other one is in my purse, but I did pick up the Ofra collab with Samantha March. Super proud of her. That was such a cool move to be able to do that. I loved it. I am not new to Ofra's lip products. I'm truly not. I probably have about 20 of their liquid lipsticks, and I never reach for them. But I have tried doing a like shop my stash and actually reorganize the entire table in front of me. So I have like a full vanity in front of me and a full vanity behind me because I like to move around to do my makeup. So all my makeup is typically over there, and then over on the wall I have a huge cube with a whole bunch of palettes and a whole bunch of other stuff in it. I will link my beauty room tour in the bottom bar so you understand what I'm talking about and if you're interested in that kind of video. But the point of that rant was I have a whole bunch of Ofra liquid lipsticks that are over there, and because I never go over there to go get a lip product, I always just grab what's in front of me. I also have cubes in front of me right here that have like liquid glitters, liquid eyeshadows, and eyeshadow pots and singles and stuff. So I reach for that stuff all the time because it's right within my view. So in reorganizing this thing in front of me, I had left these and a few other lip products right in grabbing reach, and I've been using these like crazy. So I'm actually using Pasadena today. Again, this is the Samantha March collab. There is another one which is in my bag, and that's another thing. I have been leaving it in my purse and using it constantly. These are two very nice, beautiful shades. Not that I need to swatch Pasadena for you because it's on my face, but I'm going to. And then the other one is Las Olas. The other shade that's in my bag is a favorite as well. I'm too lazy to go get it. So those are the two colors. So one is like a orange nude and the other is like a purple pinky kind of nude. So well done, Samantha, on those. And while we are talking about the Samantha March collab, I did also get the highlight because I did want to support her. This is the Marchbeatyword highlight, and I have used this today as well. I didn't like it at first. It was almost too much, but I think I was using the wrong brush. So I initially was using this brush, which is the Morphe M510, and when I was using it, it's a little bit too dense. So when I was putting the highlight on, it was like way too much. Of course, now it's gonna make a liar out of me. Let's do this because I'm gonna have a shower anyway. So using this, it like literally packed on the highlighter. So that's my shoulder with this brush. So I decided to try a different brush to see if it was the highlight and it was just too much for me or if it was the brush. So then I started using this Luxie Pro Precision Tapered 640 brush and just lightly going in, and it's like a lot more fluffy. So then in doing that, it kind of tones it down a little bit and blends it a little bit nicer. So this is just a nice sheen. This looks like I took the highlight and was like, so this is actually very high on my list. I've been using it a lot, and I want to congratulate Samantha March once again because it's such an awesome and unique opportunity to be able to collab with a brand. It seems like it's not that unique, but there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of beauty bloggers and only so many brands to be able to collab with, and only so many collabs get done. So bad, good. Sometimes it's not the product. Sometimes it's the user. Sometimes it's the brush. Okay, so we are getting down to the last two favorites, and then I have 3 honorable mentions. So I talked earlier about how I've been really loving blue eyeshadow lately, and I swear to God, the winner of my whole life and probably my favorite eyeshadow to date is this shade called Tide Pool in the ColourPop the ColourPop Blue Moon palette. You ready for this? This is the prettiest effing blue ever. I am Moana! I have pictures on my Instagram of using this, and every time I use it, I'm like, excuse me, Tide Pool? Can I just have your attention, please? Blues are hard. Like, purple is hard. I actually believe that blue is harder because blue, if If it is formulated and is formulated with any kind of patchiness, like, you're done, it's over. And this just, the winner of my whole life for this month is definitely Tide Pool. Okay, so we're moving into honorable mentions. So I want to talk about quickly the Aha Honey palette, which is also from ColourPop. If you spend any time in the beauty community at all, I know there's a million reviews about this, so I'm not going to do a review or whatever. I don't find that people care what I have to say about it because I get stuff so much later than everyone else. But I am using the Palooza Not Eye Safe glitter on my inner corner today. It went on very easily and didn't require glitter glue, and it is still chilling there. I really like this, and I bet you if you pair it with the Just My Luck palette, the like mustardy greens and then the mustardy yellows, gonna look bomb. I also bet you it will pair very well with the Gemini palette. The only thing I will say about a lot of these 9-pan palettes from ColourPop is they don't give you that highlight pop shade. Like the Blue Moon did. Up in the corner, it did give you like a white blue shift that you can add to your brow bone, that you can add to your inner corner. Well, if you look at Aha Honey, it doesn't really have that. It does have this shade here, this Sunburst shade, but it is definitely going to be very bright for your brow bone and be a little bit too aggressive in my opinion. But overall, I did really like Aha Honey as well. I like monochromatic looks. I like super blended looks. I don't do a ton. I don't do any cut creases really. Everything for me is always really blended. Cut creases are not for eyelids like mine. It just ends up transferring to the upper part of my crease, so what's the point? I do want to quickly talk about Flexitarian as well. I had the same issue with this highlight that I did with the Marchbeatyword highlight, because that is the highlight. That is the swatch of Flexitarian, which is bananas. So this is a Super Shock highlight. I did actually pick this up on the recommendation of Samantha March, but same thing goes for this highlight as goes for the Marchbeatyword. I really had to use the right tool to get it to go on nicely because this is definitely too much for me. But using the same fluffy brush or using a sponge to apply it, it is the nicest blendable highlight ever. Which is funny because between this one and the other Super Shock highlights I have, and I have all 6 of the Villains Super Shock highlights, they can go on with a dense brush and be totally fine. This one is aggressive. So I'm kind of wondering if the formula is a little bit different between the ones in the pans and the ones in the pots. All right, my last honorable mention is actually from ColourPop as well, and the only reason it's not a favorite and is an honorable mention is because I haven't had enough time to play with enough of these shadows. So I had never had ColourPop singles before I picked this up. This one is the, it's not Chasing Rainbows, it's Rainbow something. I will correct myself in the comments here just to make sure I say the right name of it. But it does come with this really cute like tropical palette, and they basically curate a singles palette for you. But what I like about this is I found with all of the other things I was playing with this month, this was supporting it in some way. So for the Aha Honey palette, I was using the white. I was using some of these yellows. I was using the orange to kind of deepen up some of the stuff with Aha Honey. I was using some of the blues and greens down in the bottom to kind of mess with the Tropic palette a little bit. I felt like this was a really well curated support palette, and you would think that it's not a support palette by looking at it, but I don't have a lot of matte shades that are these like really crazy colors. So I have tons of shimmer shades that are really bright and really like rainbow dripping shades, and then I don't have good transitions to go with them. So I was reaching for this a ton and I didn't really like think about that until I was going to do this video, and I was like, there is so many marks in this palette already, and I only got this like the second week of July. So that shows to me, and I've actually said this before in my favorites, it's not necessarily things that are blowing my mind that are in my favorites. It's the things that I am reaching for without even noticing. And that was definitely one of them. Let me know what you think of these products and let me know what you were loving in July. And if you think I'm using something incorrectly or if you have a differing opinion, I would actually really like to hear it. I like to make sure that I try things in different ways. If I am using them wrong, please educate me. Educate, don't berate. and I'm ready to hear it. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video before you go, and I'll see you next time.